like to be desperate? So this word instantly in my mind goes to a place of desperation, obviously, but it's desperate for something, right? We're desperate for something to change in our finances. Maybe we become desperate for something to change in our marriage, or desperate that something has to happen at work. Maybe you're having a trouble with a child and it's desperate for behavior to change, or desperate for the atmosphere of your home to adjust. We get to this place where we're absolutely desperate for something to happen. And the only way when we're desperate for something to happen is if we start to adjust the way that we look at things, the way that we handle things. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. So we have to make a change in order to see a change. You see, the God that we serve, he reserves the right to go on strange and mysterious journeys. Sometimes when we're desperate for things that instantly affect ourselves. When was the last time that we were desperate for something for someone else? Truly desperate. Not just, that would be really cool, that would be great, I'd love for that to happen for them, they deserve something great. When was the last time we were desperate to see the people around us know Jesus? To see the people around us get saved? When was the last time we were desperate for revival in our community? When was the last time we were desperate to see countless people baptized in Jesus and in the Holy Spirit? When was the last time that we were desperate for something for someone else? There's all kinds of stories in the Bible where God takes this place of a heart and turns it into a desperation. But it's a desperation for Him to do something. And it comes with His reservation. He reserves the right to go on a strange and mysterious journey. Abraham is one. Abraham, his whole family, his community believed in countless pagan gods. And all of a sudden he has this interaction with the one true God who says, hey, I want you to leave everything you know, take your family, and go to a place I'll tell you. I'm not going to tell you where it is yet. I'm not going to tell you how to get there. You just start walking and I'll show you. But he gives up everything. He goes to Noah and says, hey, these people, they're terrible. They've walked away from me. We're going to build a boat. You've never seen rain. You've never smelled the oncoming of a storm. You've never seen the waters rise up. You don't even know what a boat is. But I want you to head down to the local Home Depot, load up on gopher wood. Here's the specs, and build this thing that nobody can even imagine. You have a woman named Ruth who goes into a community and a culture that she's an alien for. She doesn't know what's happening, but she goes in faith and says, your God will be my God. Where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. And she walks into this world that so many of us would go, I would be so uncomfortable I wouldn't even try. But not only does she try, but she works diligently and hard to gather grain for herself and her mother-in-law. God does these incredible things when we get to these desperate places for Him to do only what He can do in our lives. And when you look at these stories, when Abraham took that step of faith, that's where you see the promise come true, where God says, I will give you more blessings than you can count the stars. His step of faith, his desperation for God to do something, touched millions and millions of lives. Noah's desperation to do what God wanted him to do saved all of mankind at the time, right? He provided a way for his family to be on the boat because God told him to. Ruth is one of only 4 women named in the genealogy of Christ because she was willing to do something out of her comfort zone. She made an unconventional sacrifice. She could have easily gone back to Moab, married a man, had a great life, and done everything as normal, and no one would have questioned that. But instead, she walked into Israel, and she said, where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. So my challenge to you today is, what are you desperate for? Are the things that make you desperate all inward, or are they outward? When was the last time you prayed for your town and your community that there would be a revival of the presence of God over the city that you live in? I challenge you today, let us get desperate for God to move in our communities, for God to move in our towns and in the places that we live in, over our neighbors and over even people we don't know their names. Let's get desperate for a move of the Holy Spirit right here in our community, and God will and can change our world.